The Pony Factory was given birth by David Szymanski, the same guy who gave birth to Iron Lung, which inspired Markiplier to make the movie based on this game. Where Iron Lung established the basis of horror beyond the cosmos, the Pony Factory takes a more lighter tone on the horror aspects taking place in hell instead of the cosmos. You can say it's the exact opposite of Iron Lung, which takes place in the place above, while the Pony Factory takes place in the place below. I will be going over its short story today, as after all, it's only like an hour long game. The game starts off with the text talking about a man named Winston who, being tired of the loss of morality in his town, lost faith in his God and started Satan worshipping, calling upon Hell to answer him, to which Hell actually replies back, telling him of the ways of changing the human bodies to his will. Winston, hating the people in his time and considering them to be sinners and hedonists, decides to change them into something less cruel, something like a magical happy pony. But of course, in order to carry out this large-scale change in human anatomy, he needed a place where he could safely convert these kidnapped individuals into these magical beings, and so he got the idea from Hell itself to make a factory which Winston proudly called the Pony Factory. Winston soon became the CEO of the factory and of course recruited people to work there as employees. The requirements included a certain morality level of the individual being high enough to acceptable level, as well as sin level to non-existent. Ironic considering Winston himself called upon Hell for help, making him one of the biggest sinners. At first, the process of pony making went smoothly. Hell guided Winston how to make ponies so that they could go outside to hunt for more sinners so that they could be converted into more pony. And doing this, they eventually resulted in harvesting their sins through the use of different pipelines that directed the sins to a nearby forest for dispersion. However, Winston did not know that it was actually making the world much worse, as the sins extracted were unsafe without a human host and made Hell more powerful, so much so that it tricked Winston into releasing all of mankind's sin into the world by tricking Winston into thinking that it was some kind of a magical friendship energy. Of course, this resulted in the already made ponies to go mad and wreak havoc into the factory, but Winston managed to lock the energy deep in the factory before succumbing to his wounds. Sometime later, Winston's son enters the factory and manages to retrieve the friendship energy and escapes the factory with it, not realizing that it was Hell's plan to unleash the sins of mankind into the entire world. Now, I do want to mention some things here. In one of the texts, it is mentioned that some squirrels entered the factory and stopped the production of the ponies for quite some time, and Winston had to shoot them in order to continue his factory. These are the same squirrels that appear in another game made by David called Squirrel Stapler, where a deranged man hunts squirrels and staples them onto his dead wife's carcass before meeting God in the form of a squirrel and shooting him. I feel like this game, along with the Pony Factory as well as Iron Lung, are related in some way. The Pony Factory chronologically takes place first in the supposed timeline where the son of Winston releases the sins of man onto the world. This then continues in Squirrel Stapler, where the hunter affected by the released sins kills his wife and eventually meets God, who is angry at what the world has become and decides to unleash the quiet rapture, which brings about the events that takes place in Iron Lung. I know it's a stretch, but like MacPat says, it's just a game theory.